Hi there, Mark here from Online Guitar Lessons, and today I'd like to introduce a friend of mine who's going to talk about Ritchie Blackmore, who's one of his guitar favourites, a gentleman called Rob Sas. Hello Rob.
Hi mate, how you doing?
Good, thank you mate, thanks for coming and joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, so I'm going to hand you over to Rob in a second, and we thought we'd have a bit of fun. Rob's a Blackmore fan, and you don't hear so much about Ritchie Blackmore these days because you know, the playing was, when was his heyday? 70s really, wasn't it?
Early mid-70s.
So some of you younger players who've grown up on people like Mark Tremonti and all these kind of new generation of players might not be familiar with Blackmore directly, but you might know his riffs that have been passed on through the players that have looked up to him, and people like Yngwie Malmsteen, who was also a big Blackmore fan. So I'm going to hand you over to Rob, and hope you enjoy them. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name's Rob Sas. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Ritchie Blackmore and his style. I was in a Deep Purple tribute band back in the UK called 24 Karat Purple, and also a rock covers band called Burn in the UK, and we did a lot of Purple stuff. And being a Ritchie Blackmore fan, a lot of his style tends to come out in my playing in various guises. First off, don't be afraid to try out and experiment with your tone controls. On any guitar you will have various tone options. On this Fender Stratocaster, for instance, you have 3 pickups and 2 tone controls. And on the neck pickup you get quite a wide range of sounds. From very muffled to quite bright and everything in between. And in the middle pickup, same sort of thing. So you can hear the difference. Going back to the bridge pickup, going back to the neck pickup again. Ritchie Blackmore is quite an exponent of using his tone controls. He doesn't actually have a middle pickup, so whenever you see a guitar with 3 pickups in it, the middle one will always be a dummy. However, he does quite a lot of this sort of thing. Now, kids all over the world, when they start to play the guitar, one of the first songs quite often that they choose is Smoke on the Water. It's often played wrong. A lot of kids will do it like this. Wrong. Ritchie Blackmore plays usually no more than 3 strings at a time, so really it should sound like this. And there's Black Knight. Woman from Tokyo. And then there's the intro to Strange Come Woman. Using that pickup selector to great effect there. As well as some of those iconic riffs, there's stuff like Burn that has a fantastic riff, which I'll show you in a second, and in an arpeggio like this. So stuff like the arpeggio that I just showed you in Burn, Blackmore is quite heavily influenced by classical music. For instance, Hall of the Mountain King is a Grieg song, famous old classical composer, and he also did Difficult to Cure, which is Beethoven's Ninth, basically, which was like this. Unforgettable. I mean, it's one of those songs that you instantly know what it is the minute you hear it. And Blackmore has gone through his career playing that kind of thing. He's gone back to his roots and is playing sort of classical, folky type music. So he's using a lot of those characteristics and techniques in his music these days. So with Burn, as we were looking at, the arpeggios are based around these chords: G minor, C minor, to F, to B flat, to E flat, to D. And when it comes to the arpeggios, it's played 3 notes at a time. Before landing up on the D for the end. Depending on the part of the song that you're in, it might be, or it could be a D. Again, being Blackmore, he uses an open D string and holding the G string at that point there on the D, rather than playing a, because as we discussed earlier, Blackmore didn't really use full chords. He preferred to use 2 or 3 strings at the most. So you put that together and you get this. Ritchie Blackmore was very prolific in the 60s for his session work with a legendary producer, Joe Meek, who was churning out hit after hit after hit with a stable of musicians, of which Ritchie Blackmore was one. And then from there, Ritchie Blackmore was playing with Screaming Lord Sutch. He joined the Outlaws, and then from there ultimately into Deep Purple in 1968. Later he formed Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, before going back to Deep Purple and then heading off into the sunset with Candice Night to form Blackmore's Night and his Hey Nonny Nonny band. So Ritchie Blackmore had quite a varied technique. One of the things he would do is use a delay quite a lot, something like that. Half a second or so, something like that. And he would use minor lead technique. So for instance, if we're playing in A minor, going for a double bend there. 2 note again. And use his little finger a lot. It's important to use your little finger. So work that muscle. And as for exercises that Blackmore would use, or exercises you could use to emulate the Blackmore thing, if we're playing in D now, so we're playing open D string, and hitting the D on the G string. And then using the whammy, very heavy on the whammy. There's that minor thing again. Right, so we're playing in A at the moment. I'm going to show you how Blackmore would use a harmonic minor. So. And there's your harmonic minor. So we'll take a look at this harmonic minor a little bit slower. We're playing in A minor. And there's the harmonic minor we're talking about